from slumber. Dreadnoughts, hidden for decades in black site hangars, rolled out into the light. Entire systems shifted to war production, economies bending not toward profit but vengeance. The first sign came when long-range sensors across neutral space detected movement on a scale never before recorded. Entire armadas, engines flaring like stars, slipped silently from Sol. Human comms went dark. The second sign came when the Dominion's border outposts, vast fortresses meant to intimidate, suddenly stopped transmitting. Then came the third sign. A single broadcast, pulsing through every frequency in the galaxy, carrying a voice that was cold, sharp, and utterly devoid of mercy. "This is Earth. You laughed at our grief. Now hear our rage." The first blow. The Drakil had believed themselves untouchable within their core worlds. Their fleets were scattered, unprepared for concentrated retaliation. Humanity's strike came not with precision, but with overwhelming force. Entire systems burned in a single night. Orbital bombardments lit the skies of Drakil colonies as human dreadnoughts descended, their cannons splitting mountains and oceans. Civilian evacuations turned to stampedes as humanity's warships unleashed fire that could shatter continents. Every ship bore the emblem of Earth, a silent declaration that this was not war for conquest, it was vengeance made flesh. On the world of Koreth Prime, the Dominion's high command assembled in panic. Their generals shouted over each other, swearing the humans would not dare come deeper into their space. But even as they argued, the skies above Koreth Prime turned black, not from storm clouds, but from the shadows of 500 human ships blotting out the sun. The orbital bombardment lasted 6 hours. When it ended, Koreth Prime was no longer a capital, it was rubble. Retribution without mercy. The galaxy had never seen a campaign move so fast. Where the Dominion had taken weeks to annihilate Haven Reach, humanity answered in days. The human armadas surged like tidal waves across Dominion territory, their tactics efficient and cold. Entire planets were rendered uninhabitable. Space stations were torn apart. Dominion fleets, once thought invincible, shattered upon contact with Earth's disciplined fury. The humans did not conquer, they did not occupy, they erased. Survivors who surrendered were spared, but their ships were marked, their hulls scorched with a warning burned in plasma, never again. Those survivors were released deliberately, scattered like seeds of terror, so that every corner of the galaxy would hear firsthand what Earth had become. In one broadcast that slipped through Dominion jamming, an alien merchant described what they saw. They came like storms that do not pass. Suns vanished behind their fleets, planets screamed as their crust split, and then silence, only silence. The humans do not gloat, they do not laugh, they destroy and then they vanish into the dark. The day the laughter died. The Dominion's arrogance evaporated, their laughter turned to screams. From their highest generals to their lowest soldiers, they began to realize what they had awakened. Haven Reach had not been the death of humanity's resolve, it had been the birth of something far more terrifying. Human grief was not weakness, it was fuel. Every tear shed on Earth, every candle lit in mourning, had been sharpened into a blade. And when that blade was unleashed, it cut deeper than any empire had ever known. Entire Dominion sectors vanished from the star maps in under a month. Systems that had been theirs for centuries were reduced to memory. The galaxy, once amused by humanity's mourning, now watched in stunned silence as the Dominion screamed for mercy. But Earth gave none. The last broadcast. At last, after 87 days of war, The Dominion capital sent out a desperate plea to the galaxy. "We surrender, we beg for intervention, the humans will not stop." But no intervention came. No empire dared to stand between humanity and vengeance. The Dominion's last broadcast was cut short, not by jamming but by annihilation. The humans had arrived. The final transmission from the Dominion capital was not of words, but of fire. Cameras caught the moment when Earth's fleets descended in formation, their weapons igniting the skies like a second sun. Then came static, and then nothing. The Dominion was gone. Whispers in the aftermath. Silence followed. The stars that once glittered with Dominion pride now lay in ruin. Human fleets pulled back, not out of mercy, but out of completion. The vengeance was finished. No occupation, no conquest, only ashes left behind. In the dark corners of the galaxy, whispers spread. Merchants spoke of fleets that blotted out suns. Refugees told tales of Earth's soldiers who landed like storms, faces cold, eyes filled not with hate but with duty. And across the galaxy, one truth etched itself into every heart. Never provoke Earth again. The laughter of the Dominion had become dust, and the galaxy understood the truth too late. Human grief is infinite, but human rage is unstoppable. The Xyrath Dominion was not known for mercy. They thrived on conquest, on the spectacle of breaking their enemies not only in battle but in spirit. When they turned their attention toward the human colony of Vera Prime, it was not because of resources nor territory. It was for amusement. The colony was young, families, researchers, farmers. No fleets, no fortresses. Humanity had chosen Vera Prime as a place of peace, a symbol of expansion without war. But the Xyrath did not respect symbols. They descended with fire. Cruisers split the skies, turning atmosphere into a canvas of burning trails. Orbital bombardment struck civilian cities, vaporizing homes, schools, and marketplaces. The colonists tried to signal distress, but their cries vanished into static as jamming drowned every channel. On the surface, Xyrath warriors marched through the ruins, laughing at the broken faces of the survivors. They lined up the elders, the children, the medics, and executed them in broadcasts the Dominion shared across the galactic networks. It was not conquest, it was theater. And as the last human signal went dark, the Xyrath commander sneered into the camera. "Let this be your lesson, Earth. Your grief is our laughter. You are too soft, too weak, too civilized to answer. This is your fate." The celebration of arrogance. The Dominion feasted on their victory. In their great halls, they replayed the massacres as though they were entertainment. Soldiers drank to the screams of human families. Governors boasted of how humanity would do nothing, how their laws, their diplomacy, their precious counsels would bind them in silence. Other alien empires nodded in agreement. For decades, they had dismissed Earth as a curious species, intelligent, inventive, but restrained. Humanity built trade, treaties, and technology, yet rarely unsheathed the blade. To the arrogant, restraint looked like weakness. The Dominion's propaganda spread like wildfire. The humans wept, the humans begged, and the humans bled. Entire star systems echoed with the mocking phrase, "Earth does not answer with war." And so the galaxy laughed. But in the quiet corners of Earth, behind the sealed doors of command bunkers and the black glass windows of orbital stations, humanity did not laugh. Humanity remembered. Humanity grieved. And then humanity began to sharpen its rage. The silence before the storm. For a time, the galaxy saw nothing. Earth issued no declarations. No fleets were seen leaving orbit. No fiery speeches reached the interstellar channels. The Dominion mistook this silence for surrender. But those who studied human history knew better. Humanity had been silent before, after Pearl Harbor, after lost cities, after broken treaties. And silence had always been the inhale before the scream. In the command vaults of the United Earth Defense Accord, plans were drawn in cold precision. No tribunal, no warnings, no negotiation, only retaliation. Dreadnoughts stirred in their cradles beneath the oceans of Earth. Black-hulled warships, unseen for decades, rose from hidden dry docks on the moons of Jupiter. Titans of steel that had not seen stars since the last great war were awakened and armed. Across colonies, whispers spread. Something is coming. Entire fleets vanished from patrol. Entire divisions of soldiers went dark, untraceable even by Allied scanners. The galaxy did not yet realize it, but the storm was already gathering. And when the storm broke, it would not stop until the galaxy remembered the price of mocking human grief. The shattering dawn. The Dominion's first warning came not from human words, but from human shadows. One of their fleets stationed at the fringes of occupied space vanished. No distress calls, no wreckage, no survivors, just silence. Days later, another fleet disappeared. Then a fortress world reduced to molten slag. And then the message came, not a broadcast, not a speech. A single transmission burned into every Dominion channel, every ship, every soldier's